What is up, guys? It's Flash, back with some more charts, another video. It's Tuesday, May the 20th, about 5:05 p.m. Eastern. Just took a bunch of screenshots, threw them into a PowerPoint, and about 20 minutes later, prices are already higher. So super excited to give you guys this update today. We are going to start out on Bitcoin here on the 3-day time frame. We got a rainbow indicator up, which represents our power trend, our power law, a model that's built on mathematics and scarcity. This is showing a price of 106.5K. I think we're already up at 107, the low 107. So we are climbing. You can see that little dotted line in the middle around Saturday, November 15th. I'm thinking that's when this is gonna go till. It could be shorter, it could go through 2026. Again, it also depends on the business cycle and liquidity cycles. So let's just keep an eye on it. But for right now, that's kind of my best guess right now, October, November, December timeframe. If we go to our next image here, this is the same indicator, the same price of Bitcoin. Instead of a logarithmic scale, it's on the regular scale. Okay, this is just the representation of the power law displayed from a different perspective. This is just exponential when you it's really not exponential, but this looks like it is. But this is just the Bitcoin network getting stronger every day, the hash rate getting stronger, the transaction volume increasing. Just super, super awesome to be a part of this and to be able to provide you guys these updates. So very exciting times, right? Looks like we're cracking the all-time highs on Bitcoin. We're getting there, guys. We are getting there. So let's go on. Next image here is the NASDAQ measured in Bitcoin. Again, I don't really have many words for this. We are going to look at MSTR measured in Bitcoin, and we'll come back to this chart in a little bit. But this is just truly Bitcoin rather, just so strong. Okay, so here we go. We're at Bitcoin on the daily time frame. And overlaid in the light yellow line is the global M2 money supply. So essentially it's all the spendable cash in the system from every country. It's global, it's aggregated into one metric. So it's not perfect by any means, but this is shifted forward by about 83 days. So you'll see there it peaks out. That's where it currently is today. But if you shift this metric forward, we're able to kind of identify a potential path for Bitcoin, right? So you can see there on the left the correlations. So in the last 30 days, this has a 90.5% correlation. The last 60 days, a 92.5% correlation. So it's really, really it's correlated, and it's kind of hard to put into words because it really, is it this simple? Does Bitcoin really just follow the money supply? Maybe not all the time. Liquidity is a tricky thing, but right now it certainly is. So we're going to keep tracking it. I'm not sure how high this is going to go, but if it stays lined up like this, we could see 160, 170, 180K. By July or August. So, and if you even zoom in a little bit more, it's starting to curl back up, which is pretty wild that this could actually continue on. And that's, again, what I'm tracking towards October, November, December. So we'll continue to follow this and give you guys those updates on a weekly basis. Next, if you followed my previous video, I also took that indicator and I put the price of gold into it. So this is the price of gold shifted forward by 92 days. And this has also a very strong correlation in the last 30 and 60 days, 92.9%, 93.8% respectively. Doesn't always follow it. You can see back in May and June of 2024 on the bottom left there, it really wasn't correlated. But for right now, it's showing the same exact thing pretty much as the global M2 money supply. And then, if we put them on the same chart, on the same image, they're pretty much lining up perfectly. So this is very exciting. You can even see gold starting to curl back up, that green line. So very, very exciting times indeed. Next, we have Bitcoin measured in gold. And so this screenshot is from a PowerPoint slide that I got from @MoneyOrDebt on X, on Twitter. He did a recent podcast and was just talking through some of his findings, right? So not only does a power trend exist versus the US dollar, but we can also measure Bitcoin against a hard asset like gold, probably the second hardest asset in my opinion. The US dollar is a little bit funky, right? It can be, I'm not sure it's always telling us the truth, right? So I think gold tells us the truth as well, better than the US dollar does. And then obviously Bitcoin, I think, is telling us the real truth. But this, has a measured move target, this like recent big accumulation with a cup and handle pattern. It puts us at a ratio of about 110. So if you do the math there, you multiply whatever you think the price of gold is by 110, and that will get you your Bitcoin price. Again, that's just a measured move, just kind of some fun I'm doing with ratios. But for example, if gold is 4,000, multiply that by 100, you get 400,000. So just another way to maybe extrapolate and guesstimate really what you think the Bitcoin price will be. So again, very interesting. This power law model versus gold has an R squared of 0.94. If you look at any mathematics or physics and you find an R squared like that, you have something very, very tangible, and it's not, I wouldn't say it's false. All right, now let's get into MSTR. So MSTR has been in the news recently, right? But I'm here to kind of bring you a perspective outside of the noise. Let's zoom out, let's see the bigger picture, and I'll talk you guys through what I'm thinking here. So you guys recognize this chart. You got your upper band, your lower band, some flag patterns, some channels, some blow off top scenarios. And then you have those golden price targets. So 150K Bitcoin equals $1,200 in MSTR. I'm using MicroStrategist's model here to determine that, right? So if we just go to the next image, you can go to this yourself. MicroStrategist has a website, just Google it, and you can play around with it. But those green dots are all the prices of MSTR on any given day, and the white line is the price of Bitcoin on that same day, right? So, it's like throwing darts at a dartboard, but here this model is predicting, if this stays true, which I don't see why it wouldn't, right? If Bitcoin reaches a price of 150K, that puts MSTR at 1.2K, right? So, and then it extrapolates out. So 200K, 250K Bitcoin, 300K Bitcoin. Like, if Bitcoin does these moves, like, it's very plausible it could go to 300K, for example, right? I'm not saying it's not, but like, let's stair step up. But I think, the 200K price target equals 2,900 MSTR, which is just insane. Like, this thing is going to go parabolic. People are going to lose their shirts. They're not going to know what is going on. But we know that Bitcoin is the most strategic asset, the hardest, soundest money. I don't have to tell you guys this. You all know it. But this just excites me so much. But I'm going to take it one step at a time. I think, if the money supply and gold is implying Bitcoin get to 150, 160K by June or July, I think MSTR is going to follow suit. I know that, there's been some talk about shorting the stock, buying Bitcoin, shorting MSTR. I really don't think that makes sense. I think they need to look at MicroStrategist's model. And ultimately, if we zoom in on MSTR, like, we had an amazing close today in the last 30 minutes of the trading day. And again, I think we're already higher. So this is looking good. I'm trying to block out the noise myself and just pay attention to what the charts are telling me. And the charts are telling me some pretty sweet things, guys. And then the next slide here is MSTR with that global M2 money supply with a 55-day offset, which has a 93.7% correlation in the last 30 days. So this is saying we are about to rocket. We're about to go to the moon. And just hold on to your shirts. Don't lose your shirt is what I'm trying to say. But this is just so exciting, guys. Like, what a time to be alive and to be able to track this. You see there, July 18th. That's like in a big call option expiration. It would be awesome to be at $1,200 MSTR. I think we'd all be very happy. So stay calm, stay cool and collected. You can see I'm clearly not doing that today, but I think you can get why I'm excited. All right, next, MSTR measured in gold. So instead of measuring again in US dollars, let's measure in another hard asset. So again, this is kind of my roadmap for MSTR for the future. I think, If you see in the upper right, we could get to a 1.2 or a 1-to-1 ratio of the price of gold. So again, if gold is $4,000 or $5,000 and we're at a 1-to-1 ratio of MSTR measured in gold, you do the math there. That means MSTR is going to be $4,000 or $5,000 as well. So very, very exciting stuff. Okay, so here's where it gets interesting. MSTR measured in Bitcoin. So you can see how this chart looks a little bit different than the NASDAQ measured in Bitcoin. I'm going to go back to the NASDAQ. See how it's just kind of falling out and it's just Bitcoin is just dominating the NASDAQ right here. When we look at MSTR measured in Bitcoin, you can see that it's kind of an accumulation pattern, a big rounded bottom where it looks like MSTR wants to actually outperform Bitcoin. Again, this isn't news to any of you, but it's a good reminder for everyone, I think, and for newcomers on the channel. So this just looks like a macro accumulation, right? And then, I think we're just going to stair step our way up against Bitcoin. Sure, there's going to be times we underperform. Ultimately, we want to be outperforming Bitcoin. I think that's the new hurdle rate. And from a big picture perspective, this looks amazing. So if we zoom in, this is on the 12 hour. So this is very small time frame compared to what we just looked at. But again, we want to be riding up this blue channel. If MSTR is going to outperform Bitcoin, I think, the time is time is of the essence, I think. We have this other bull here, kind of maybe a reaccumulation, so to speak. We want to do another big channel blow off type move like you see there on the left-hand side. And, I think we're testing that gray area as support right now. You have that little green domed consolidation there. That is kind of giving me slingshot vibes where the price is held down like a beach ball being held underwater, and then I think it's going to release. And even when we take into the M2 money supply into consideration, MSTR could really start outperforming. And that's why I'm like, man, there's a lot of bad news about MSTR in the news recently. That is just your classic, buy the dip mentality, I think. So that's what I'm going to be doing, not financial advice. Now let's look at, I got Metaplanet up here. This thing has been on a tear, right? They have some serious torque where they can buy Bitcoin super quickly. And the stock price is reflective of that. So cheers to Metaplanet. Cheers to new Bitcoin treasury companies that are entering this and taking a leap in this new monetary system. Also is the blockchain group, ALTBG. And look at that, we just blasted right through that 2.4 level. That is just insane to me. This thing has gone straight up. I don't think I've ever seen a chart like this. So just speaks to the power of hard and sound money. I don't know what else to say. I know Marty Kendall, a MicroStrategist, he's pretty involved, or not involved, but he likes to track the blockchain group, and kudos to him for bringing it to my attention. And lastly, I also included Semler. This is kind of my take on Semler. I'm not really sure what to make of it. I just threw a channel on here. Could be right, could be wrong, but again, kudos to Semler for jumping in this boat, and kudos to Michael Saylor for leading the way with strategy. So yeah, that's all I have, guys. Drop me a like if you guys found this helpful. But again, hard, sound money. Let's keep tracking. Let's keep following this together. And I will see you guys in the next one. Cheers.